South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rock and dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show. Every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Good morning and happy Tuesday, everybody. It is December 10th. We are live from the South Point Hotel and Casino, and you are watching Sports by the Book. You can find us 7 days a week, AM shows 7 days a week. We are Sunday through Friday at 9 a.m., Saturdays at 8 a.m., and then we also have an evening show, Football Frenzy, Monday, Thursday, and Fridays. That is 3 p.m. on Mondays and Thursdays, and 2 to 4 with the bookmakers, Chris Andrews and company on Fridays. I'm Alex White, happy to be here with you today, joined as always, Monday through Wednesday, by my father, professional sports bettor Kenny White. We've got a lot to talk about today. We've got some NBA, college basketball, and some hockey, of course. Big time of the year leading into week 15 in the NFL. So we'll talk more on that later and give our updated top 10. And then college football, exciting time of the year. Great time for sports betting.
Sure is. Alex, good morning. And yeah, there's so much going on. The sports betting world gets bigger as we've gotten legalization of sports betting, I think in 40 states now. It's going to go crazy when California, Texas, and Florida, has sports betting right now at the Hard Rock casinos. The tribal has taken on the sports betting, and they think they've got it all locked up themselves. So we'll see if that happens or not. But Texas and California, when they get it, I think it's going to be a mad rush, like back in the day when there was gold in California and everybody headed there. There are going to be so many sports bettors that head to California and Texas because I believe those markets will open up differently. And then I'm going on to conversation of, the big 3 or big 4 have locked down the market now where it was so nice when there was 20, 30 different books. But those big books have just eaten them up with their marketing and advertising machine. I
do want to talk about that a little bit because thinking about Arizona when it first became legalized there, and there were a lot of options, right? Some smaller books, and they just didn't make it very long.
They granted 20 licenses. So there was 20 licenses that were granted, and now they're basically down to DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, and MGM. I believe those are the 4, and the others have gone out of business because they don't have the marketing money behind them. When I saw Westgate pull out 3 or 4 months ago, that they decided they just couldn't get it done, and talking to Jay Cornegay, who has since retired from the Westgate, and I got to reach out to Jay to find out what he's planning, because I don't think he was ready to retire. I think he's ready for something new, but that was such a tough thing for him that they were putting up some of the best numbers in the country, and the only people who were signing up for their accounts, though, were wise guys. So they couldn't get the square action and the parlay action that, most people covet. And that was a shame when they pulled out. I kind of knew this was coming because I was told about a year ago that was going to happen, that the four big sports books would dominate the market. For sports bettors, we want as many options as we possibly can get, and it's going to be better for us when there is more options. So Las Vegas still about 10 different options here in Vegas, which is great, and I hope that definitely continues. And DraftKings and FanDuel are not in the market, and they're late to getting in this market, and they're not because of going through the gaming control and getting regulated to get a license to take bets in the state. They have a lot of questions to be answered.
Of course, we want the options because you can always shop around. You can look at your different accounts, find the best numbers for that particular bet that you do want to make. Yeah,
and for me right now, betting women's college basketball, it's nice because it's not on the screen. And if they want to see someone else's number that people are putting up, they've got to go to those websites and check out to see where they're at. And I'm not really betting any middles right now on them because I don't want to get kicked out for doing, just betting middles. So if I'm going to get kicked out, it's going to be because I'm winning. But there are middles every day because there are, different numbers.
Yeah, and it's not so...
Which is nice.
Open and right to them. They have to actually go and look and do the extra work.
Yeah, there was a 1.5 and a 3.5 yesterday, and it sat there for an hour. Any other sport, it would be there for 2 seconds, and it would be gone because someone's going to lay the 1.5 and take the 3.5, and it's gone. And now it's funny to see it sitting there, and it's funny though to make bets on this and then not move it. They're not moving my bets again, which is frustrating because that's why I got kicked out of, everybody for college baseball. I'm betting their totals and they don't move them, and then they limit me. Again, it's not very smart when you're not doing your job, but you're going to kick me out. I'm doing my job. I'm doing the homework. I'm giving you the right side of the bet, and then you want to limit me and you don't want to know what I know. It just makes no sense to me.
Well, and if people who do watch this show, they are very familiar with Chris Andrews and Vinny, and they have talked about that. And even their preseason game of the years for college football, I mean, they had a smaller limit on those, right? But they trusted all those sharps who came in and bet early and moved the number, and then they looked at their power ratings and they said that kind of helps them get a feel for the year coming up.
Oh, and no doubt it does. And anybody that's going to put money down that early and it's just going to collect now 8 months later, they know what they're doing, and they've done their homework and their research. And I've always said that the more numbers you could possibly get from solid handicappers on a sport, the better line you're going to have. So, right now I know that the women's college basketball market, there's probably one person making. I have no idea who the first line that goes up. But I just, there's not a lot of people making numbers on that, which is great for me.
For now, I think that it will keep expanding and people will have more interest in it because now we do have Caitlin Clark in this class that have made WNBA even bigger. Now we have another expansion team happening this coming up year for the WNBA in Golden State. They just had their expansion draft. So exciting stuff for women's basketball. But overall, pretty decent for you to start with women's basketball.
Yeah, and I can, I feel really good about it because when they first started putting up numbers in November, and I thought, where are they getting these from? I was really, really mystified by it. And I searched around and I found Sonny Moore does ratings on everything in the world he has ratings on. But his ratings aren't that good because I've always said, if you don't have a good starting rating, you're in trouble. And it's going to take, all he does is throw a rating up there, and then they adjust to the scores. And that's all they're adjusting to is scores. They're never going to have a good rating. And I thought for sure somebody was using his numbers, and I was thinking this is great if they are, because the first couple I looked at were pretty close to what was out there. And then all of a sudden one day I saw two totals that were more than 10 points off. And I said, well, they can't be using his numbers then, or if they have another source, maybe they are, and they're using those different sources. But You know, it was like years ago, if you used Segrin's numbers in the USA Today, it was the same thing. His starting point was horrible. So it's going to take 6, 7, 8 weeks for that record. Andy Isco used to make a point that if you started every NFL team at 100 to begin the year and then just started adjusting, he thought by week 6 or 7, you'd have a solid rating on each team. I don't really buy into that because there could be an injury on a team and a couple teams. There's always going to be injuries and key players could be out. And then those numbers go down. And then all of a sudden, week 7, you feel like you have a good number. But Brock Purdy's been out the entire time. Now he's back, you know, and that's, you know, what can happen.
Very interesting. Even thinking about the NFL right now and some teams in particular. I mean, even Cincinnati last night, if you were just going off of that method, you probably wouldn't have a very high rating and wouldn't understand why they were a 5-point favorite. Those two, now they have the same record, but Cincinnati going into that game on the road, one fewer win. So it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, you look at Cincinnati and the 2 losses they have to the Ravens, who I think I have right. Yeah, I have the Ravens, the best team in the NFL, and Cincinnati lost a 1-point game and a 2-point game maybe to them.
Yep.
Hello. What if they would have won those 2 games? You said they're what, 5-8 right now? So 7-6. If they had won those 2 games, they're in the playoffs. And there's several other games. They would love to have a do-over because they do have a really good football team and they know they're very, very good. So
now I have to check that.
With life left, you know, they're going to play hard every week. And, you know, I've knocked their power rating down a little bit, but I still think they're a really good football team.
Yeah, you still have them close to that top 10 mark. And offensively, you really can't argue with that. It's just been a defensive struggle. But as mentioned, Cincinnati did get the win yesterday. That game did stay under 27-20. It looked like first half it was going to fly over that total, 17-10, Cincinnati up going into halftime, but they did get the cover and it stayed over the closing number of 50.5. But let's move to some NBA. We do have our second in-season tournament here, Emirates NBA Cup. Knockout rounds begin tonight. 2 games tonight and then 2 games tomorrow. So we're going to dive into this, see if you like anything in the games tonight. I know you like something tomorrow that you did give out yesterday, and we'll check your numbers and see. But we didn't go over totals, so I'm excited to talk about totals here today between these 4 teams. So let's start off with the Bucks. The Bucks are hosting the Magic. They're a 7-point favorite at home, and the total 214.5. Now let's just start here. Do we have to look at these games like playoffs? I mean, 214.5. That's a very low total already to begin with.
Yeah, mine's a lot lower. I have a 198.5 because the Magic do play really good defense, but they've got 2 great scorers out with Banchero and Franz Wagner now out. That really hurts that basketball team. Carter is their best player left, and he's a great defensive player. The Bucks defense, I think, will continue to get better. They've got really good defensive players. It's just all if they want to play defense. And I have a feeling, as you said, we treat this different than a regular season game. I think the Bucks will play defense here because of how big the game is. I was really surprised as we were talking about this game yesterday when I found out Wagner was out. I thought the number was low at 8.5, and now here it's down to 7. And again, I hate betting favorites because they don't care if they cover 7. But I know that I'm going to get a great effort out of them, so I'm definitely laying the 7. And the under, I think, is a much, much better play. I think the Bucks defense will just shut down the Magic.
The Bucks are 8-4. Straight up at home this year, so have been playing very good at home, 12-11 overall. Orlando 17-9 record coming into this, but as you mentioned, missing 2 key players in their lineup. Let's move to the second game on the board. We've got Dallas and OKC. We've got the Thunder 4.5 at home and the total 231.5.
Yeah, this game, I think they made the right number here at 4, and there are some 4.5s in the market. South Point's still at 4 if you like Orlando. Made it 5. It's, right there for me. And this Thunder team continues to impress me. Even with Chet Holmgren, they continue to play well. 18-5 record, 14-9 against the spread. But Dallas is 14-9 as well, covering point spreads. And they are very talented as well. Luka Doncic, and they were in the NBA Finals. So a lot of experience there. I think these two will go at it all year long to try to beat each other. The total, I made 236.5. Again, I talked about that yesterday. I thought this could be a really fun game to watch because all the firepower on offense. So the total was bet up. Circa opened 228.5. South Point opened 230, and we're looking at 231s, but I still think there's a little value on the over.
It is interesting. This is the 1 and 4 seed, just like we were talking about on the other side. That is the Eastern Conference 1 and 4, and man, just a 4.5 point favorite between these two, with Dallas being the 4 seed in this in-season tournament.
Yeah, but remember, there's only 3 games played by each team, or 4 games played. So it's not like they played 82 games,
right?
And then they have a seeding. Anything can happen, and that's just the way it rolled out. The Atlanta Hawks are in here too, and I don't know if they're, I guess Atlanta. 4. My rating continues to go up on them. They're a good team. The Orlando Magic right now, without their 2 best players, they're a well below average basketball team.
Well, can we just take a look at tomorrow's numbers since you have them right there? And I am just curious because I know that you did like Houston. Let's see if you still do. We're going to use Superbook's numbers here, but we've got the Knicks 7 at home against Atlanta, 237 in that game.
Yeah, you just reminded me that yesterday I gave out Abilene Christian plus 24 for the dog bet of the day on Frank's show. And I knew the Chicago Blackhawks were a good play, and I also knew that the Toronto Raptors were going to be a good play because I said the Knicks are going to look right through this game. They did. They were down late in the game, and they had to make a nice comeback, and Anthony Towns did play, Karl Anthony Towns. So he made a little bit of a run at the end. He hit a 3-pointer to kind of clinch it, but they were kind of Toronto was like never in doubt of covering that spread. This game should really be, it's going to be very high scoring. There's so much offensive firepower on both teams, and they both love to get up and down the court, and they're both playing up-tempo basketball. In my pace rating, well, Atlanta more, 103.5 pace for Atlanta. But the Knicks' offensive efficiency, 122 out of 100. They're the top offensive efficient team left. Dallas is number 2 at a 119, and they're followed by Oklahoma City at a 116. So the second and third highest offensive efficient teams are playing in that game. But New York, number 1, and Atlanta loves to run. My total came out 254. I don't think I've had this big of a difference all year on any totals. So you'll see this go up. This is going up over 240. I'm really surprised. So if you like the middle and you want a middle, go ahead, get over 237 right now.
Both of these teams definitely trend to the over. Atlanta, top over team right now in the NBA, 17-8 on the year, and the Knicks 14-10 to the over. So if you think that's going to move up, we should definitely jump on it this morning.
Yeah, it's going to go up. There's no doubt.
And then the second game, you really like Houston in this one. They are hosting the Warriors. 2.5 point favorite, total 221.5.
Yeah, Golden State's a tough team to rate out because of Curry and because of Green. And Green his value has gone down a little bit. Offensively, he's not the same guy he was. Defensively, he still is. And Curry doesn't have a lot on the defensive end, I don't think, to give anymore. It's a Golden State team that one night can look like champions, and on another night they can look like an average NBA team. Houston, I think this is a solid basketball team. I think they're going to fight Dallas and Oklahoma City all year in the West. I like this team, top to bottom, and I made them 6.5 here. I did bet the money line. I didn't lay the 2.5. I was afraid of it. I hate betting favorites. I just want my team to win. And if they win by 1, I'll be extremely happy as they are.
They are 16-8 against the spread this year, covering at a 66%, maybe 67% clip rate there. So that should be a fun game between them. That is funny you say that about the Warriors. Kind of like a Rams team in the NFL with Matthew Stafford and McVay, right? And you've got Kerr and Steph Curry on that one. So you never know what you're going to get. And
yeah, no, it is kind of identical to the Rams. They will play well because they're well coached and they've got superstar players still. But they can't figure out who their best players are other than Curry and Green. And now Green's coming off the bench because they can't figure out what their rotation is. So they don't know their rotation yet. They'll probably figure it out. They'll probably get better. They're probably going a little bit of a run. And, they'll be a team that gives somebody fits in the playoffs. I just don't think they can win it all. You mentioned spread records. They have a positive spread record too. But Houston's been really good covering.
And I had these odds going into last week, so I do need to check and make sure that they are still the same. But looking at the West last week from the Westgate, I had the Rockets 7-1, Oklahoma City 4-1, Golden State 7-1, and Dallas 6-1. So the Thunder, the clear favorite there, but I'll check and make sure that those have not moved from last week. But
I tell you, the West looks a lot stronger than the East looks in this NBA Finals. I think whoever comes out of the West should win this, and it'll be a lot of fun. I'm guessing it's here in Vegas again.
It is. Yep. A little bit of got to give the Knicks and the Bucks a little bit of an edge since they were there last year.
Well, I think the Bucks are getting healthy. That's now they got Middleton back. I think their roster looks like the best of the four teams out of the East, and they get a break playing Orlando without their two best players, and maybe they get a break and Atlanta upsets the Knicks.
Well, and a lot has been said of Doc Rivers going there, and it's kind of been a disappointment, but it looks like they're starting to figure things out there.
Well, Doc Rivers is a good NBA coach. He gets a bad beat from not winning in the playoffs, and I guess rightfully so. A lot of his teams got knocked out in the first round of the playoffs a lot of times, so they were not prepared for playoff basketball, and that's because a lot of times they were so far ahead of the rest of the pack. He's coached a lot of number one seeds, and sometimes that happens, but regular season he's gotten it done, and I think he'll do well here with Milwaukee.
Well, those sports with these long seasons, right? You got to peak at the perfect time. We've seen it in baseball, hockey. A lot of teams that win the President's Cup are out in hockey first round, so definitely makes sense there. Let's go to some college basketball, go through your numbers. We'll do a little rapid fire, and then if you have any information on pace or anything else that you can give us per team as we go through them. But do you want to give...
always looking for differences. There's still a lot of differences in my numbers. I love the way I'm adjusting numbers for these teams. And I talked about North Dakota State and Butler, my number 153.5. If you can give me the updated total, it opened 143.5, went down to 142.5. I was surprised it went down.
142.5 right now.
So it did go down. And when you start to, when I think of North Dakota State and I look at what they're doing this year, this is the way they play. They play a methodical offense, but they are a great three-point shooting team, and they play very little defense. Their threes is what wins them basketball games. Butler, I feel they're identical. That's the way they play basketball. They play slow down. They run through their offense. They're not intentionally stalling. They're just running through their offense to get a great shot, and they hit them. They're another great three-point shooting team. So you got two great three-point shooting teams together. And you look at a couple of scores from Butler, and a lot of the teams that they played were slow. The games came low. But Mississippi State is a team that will run, and that game came 164. SMU is the other fast team they played, and that came 151. I think this is a really good over because if neither team can make a three, you're not going to get it over in any game, but these two teams can shoot.
Okay, so I know you don't want to chase, but say we go over this 142.5 right now, then we're watching the game and their shots are not dropping, but they're getting good looks. Can we go over again on a better number?
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, that's really not chasing. It's just making a smarter bet. I mean, you don't have to win that bet, but I'm going to say you're going to win that bet 70% of the time. So you still got a 30% chance to lose, but you're going to win those bets, especially when you got a team like Butler who isn't a 13-point favorite, and they're going to get the lead. You're not going to get that end of the game 4 or 5 minutes that, you only get 8 points because it's a lockdown, close, tight game. I just don't see that happening in this one.
Okay, keep Keep a little note there for that game, just in case.
They're all there. I've always said that to a lot of my clients that, and I've talked about that on my show, is that I really think in-game and half times are really the best way to bet, because you can actually sometimes get more money down in game and during halftime than you can at the beginning of the game, and you're getting a way better number.
Right.
So if we're going over, and I always say that if I liked it under and they score a bunch of points early, start betting it under, because you're getting a better number. This game, I like it over, and I'm looking at 142.5. If they get off to a slow start, and at one point anytime you're like 10 points off the number, it's almost should be an automatic bet for anybody. So if this number dropped to 132.5 at any time during the first half, you want to jump in, because they've got good scoring. They're going to score.
Especially if you already like that game leaning that way.
Only if you like that game.
Only if you like that game.
If I made it 142 and had no play on it, I would not be interested at all. But I mean, that's the way. If I had time to watch every game and bet every game in game, that's what I'd really want to do is see that. And it'd be nice to have an automated program set up that does that for you. If the number hits 132.5 at any time, bet it over for me. Next game I like over as well, Miami and Tennessee, but this one's playing in Madison Square Garden. Sometimes you get those tight rims there in Madison Square Garden, and they don't go over. But I like it over Tennessee and Miami, two offensive teams. Miami extremely offensive with no defense. Tennessee plays defense, but Miami doesn't play defense whatsoever. So I like that over. College of Charleston and St. Joe's. I didn't get a chance to look at this game, but I've got a big difference on my number, 163, and it opened 151 and was bet down. College of Charleston, Chris Mack used to be a Butler head coach. They've been playing a little bit of pressure defense and forcing teams to shoot early, especially early in the year. They may not be doing it as much now. Maybe that, I don't know if it worked for them or didn't work for them, but they have shown a well above average offense and a below average defense. St. Joe's loves to run. Billy Lang.
So off topic, but do you know what St. Joe's women did yesterday? How did that game go? Not off topic. I mean, it's still the same sport, but
excuse me.
Women's college basketball, St. Joe's.
I didn't bring that sheet in.
Okay. Well, we'll figure that out later. Let's go to Charlotte and Davidson. Right now, we're seeing some movement here on the total. Davidson, 8.5-point favorite, total 141.
I'm right there. Well, I made it 6.5. Davidson 6.5, so I would lean to Charlotte here in this game. I don't see any great numbers to back them up, though. They're 1-5 ATS, and that's maybe a reason why the line's a little higher than I am. Davidson 5-1 to the over. Matt Killips, the head coach there, has been there 2 years. His dad was there for 30 years, I think. He was Steph Curry's head coach, college.
Looks like that is moving up a little bit, 139 to now 141.
Yeah, I have no opinion on it. My numbers right there, but his games have been going way, way over. They're 11 points over the closing total, and Charlotte has been 2 points over, but I'm going to pass. I'm not on that game.
Rutgers 3, hosting Penn State, total 158.5.
Yeah, I made Penn State 5 in the game, and I didn't get a chance to really look it over, but let me look real quick with Penn State. They are led by Mike Rhodes. I think Rhodes has done a good job. All they've done is win. They're 8-1. They just beat Purdue. Now that's maybe they have a letdown in this spot. Could be. Rutgers has lost 3 in a row. They were in a tournament here in Vegas. They played Notre Dame, Alabama, and Texas A&M. Maybe that was 2. Yep, they were here quite a long time for Thanksgiving weekend. Went to Ohio State after that, and they got beat by Ohio State. So, this is maybe a rebound game for Rutgers, but I think Penn State's the better basketball team, and that's why I have them the favorite.
Ken Palm actually has them winning this game as well by 2. So you guys are on with that one. Let's go to Rhode Island, 4-point favorite on the road, total 152.5.
Always a big rivalry game. Proximity, they're very close. Rhode Island is the far better team. I made them 4 and 141. Do lean to the under in this game, but not something I love because Rhode Island loves to play fast. Brown loves to play slow. If Brown can control the tempo, then it will go under. So I think it's kind of like a correlated parlay that you would take Brown plus the points to the under.
More so than not, right? You want the favorite. You're expecting them to actually control the tempo of the game. 4 points, though, not a huge.
Yeah, right. You don't have a big discrepancy in talent in the game. So, and I gave full home for Brown, which maybe I shouldn't have because there'll probably be quite a few Rhode Island fans there because it is a short trip. So kind of be wary of that one. I'm not, and the difference isn't great, but Brown is playing at home where they may feel more comfortable and they, love to slow it down. They do play good defense. But Rhode Island loves to run.
Okay. Let's go to Princeton, 14-point favorite at home, 147.5 against Monmouth.
Yeah, well, in New Jersey rivalry game, basically, I don't think as much for Princeton as it would be for Monmouth because they're new and upcoming school. Princeton probably still playing the Princeton style offense. They are methodical. They do play good defense, but their offense has been really good this year. They're shooting the three ball really well. So they are running the Princeton offense because that's what you get. You get layups and threes, dunks and threes. Theirs is layup and threes. Monmouth has really struggled this year. And this is Kenny Rice. I think King Rice. I think he's going to be a really good head coach, but he is struggling, I guess, getting players at Monmouth. So he's a big underdog in this game. Princeton's 14.5. I agree. I think that's what the right number is.
Princeton coming off a loss to Furman as well, so it could be a good bounce back spot for them here at home, but 14 is a pretty big number. Next game on the board, Western Kentucky, 15, total 160.5 against Tennessee State.
Yeah, I have Western Kentucky 14.5, 152. So there is a pretty good difference on the total. I'm to the under here. I pulled up the wrong team. I pulled up Northern Kentucky in my power ratings, but Western Kentucky 5-3 on the year. So they play extremely fast, but their offense is rather average. Their defense is tremendous. They're going to have a ton of possessions in this game. Tennessee State's another team that plays fast, so I'll pass that. I'm not going to go under. The tempo is going to be ridiculous, and Tennessee State is 7-0 to the over this year.
Big favorite up next with Houston, 27 at home, total 132.5. We know Houston does play at a slower tempo as well, and great defensive team. Yeah,
and Troy's a very good defensive team themselves. They don't like to push the pace, so I see this as a really low possession game, but it's a blowout, and Houston can name the score, and I worry about when they get a big lead. This would be a game more that I would look for the first half under.
Yeah.
I made the game 124, and I think you have more value in the first half because when these teams do get that big of a lead, if they let down defensively a little bit, then it goes flying over.
Let them back in the game a little. I do like that a lot, especially watching Houston over the years. So under in the first half for that one, Houston and Troy. Let's go Wyoming and South Dakota. South Dakota, 1-point favorite at home, total 157.5.
I have Wyoming the favorite, 3 and 158. So that number's right there for me. And, kind of a regional rivalry game. Sundance Wicks is the head coach at Wyoming, and he has been there now. This is his first year. There. Eric Peterson, 2 years at South Dakota. I think he's done a nice job at South Dakota, too. Again, the talent level.
Yeah.
Much, much lower for South Dakota, but they are South Dakota's a great over team. I don't have the difference in my total, and it is a high total, 158, but they love to run. They shoot the three extremely well, or they actually not the three ball. Their offense is efficient. They take care of the basketball. Their defense is horrendous. So I might like Wyoming here with a bad defense. I'll take Wyoming with the better defense. My numbers say it's so, and the numbers move that way. So I think Wyoming's the better bet in that game.
Ooh, yeah. And South Dakota coming off a brutal loss to Northern Arizona where they should have been the better team in that one. So Wyoming looking to rebound off of 2 losses for them. So I like it as well. Tulane 6-point favorite at home over Southern Miss. Total 145.5.
Yeah, I'm right there, 5 and 150. We can just go to the next game.
Okay, we've got DePaul -1.5. Total 139.5.
I made Providence 1 and 144. I don't really think there's much there. Kim English, for 1 year at Providence, and Chris Holtzman used to be the Ohio State coach now at DePaul, trying to turn that program around. And I think he's done a nice job to start. So I don't really see much there in the number. I'll just pass.
Another Big Ten matchup here with Illinois hosting Wisconsin. 6.5 for the home team, and the total 154.
Yeah, it surprised me when I saw my number in this game and I made the Illini 10.5. There was money for Wisconsin. Game open 7, bet down to 6.5. I made the total 148. We've won a couple bets this year with the Illini over because they love to run. But now we're in conference play. I don't think, I think Greg Gard for Wisconsin, their head coach, is going to get back to their roots and, run clock. And that's what they like to do. So we'll see if they can do that. I'm not sure if they can, but that will be how their game plan has to be to run clock. I made the total 148. It was bet down a little bit, but I don't really see a lot there because of the Illini loving to go up tempo.
Wow. Northwestern and Illinois, 70-66 final with overtime. So talk about a slower paced game there.
Yeah, that was a bad game for me because I thought the Illini was the right side, but Chris Collins doing a nice job. I think this maybe, there was a letdown from the Illini after beating Arkansas on a neutral in a big game, and they let up. I feel like they let up, so maybe they won't hear. Maybe they'll be ready and be prepared after a conference loss.
Wow. So lean to the under in that one. Both teams coming off losses themselves, and Wisconsin lost to Michigan and Marquette back-to-back games. So that would lead us more to defense, right, in this one?
Well, you would think, and that's when you're right. I saw that Wisconsin lost their last 2 games, and they did have a nice win over Pittsburgh and Central Florida and Arizona. So they had some nice wins to begin the year, but this is probably their most difficult game, and they do have a road game. They just lost to Marquette, and that's their biggest rival. Marquette's their biggest rival, so they're coming off a big rivalry game, and they're going to try to bounce back, but both teams are going to try to bounce back.
And just never know how they are going to respond. Madison Square Garden again, Arkansas and Michigan. Michigan, the favorite here, 4 points, 146.5. Been a little bit tough for Arkansas.
Yeah, it has
to start.
And that's John Calipari, moved from Kentucky to Arkansas. They do have a couple of losses. They lost to Baylor on a neutral, and then they lost to the Illini. And that's the game I was talking about that I bet over in that game. It was played in Kansas City. Arkansas lost 90-77. They bounced back with a win over Miami of Florida, who's not quite as good this year, in Texas San Antonio. So this will be kind of another measuring test to see where John Calipari's team is. They're not where he wants them to be offensively yet, but they are playing very good defense. Dusty May is the new head coach at Michigan after a really good run at Florida Atlantic that he really showed, I can coach, and he's a good basketball coach. Michigan playing outstanding defense, and they force you deep into shot clocks. My number, I like it. I made it 141.5. It's 146. I lean to the under. It is in Madison Square Garden. I think it could be a close game. So I like that under. That might be a game I do try to look at in game. And if I can get a much better number than that, I think I'll have a good bet.
Rebuilt here in Arkansas. Then on the flip side, Mark Pope doing very good in Kentucky. Had a big win over Gonzaga in overtime recently. But let's go we have 4 more on the board. Cal, 9.5 at home, total 167 against Cornell.
Yeah, biggest difference I have in my sheet, a 20-point difference on the total. I made this 189. Cornell is the fastest team in the country. They are just up-tempo. And they are great offensively. They shoot the 3 well. They shoot the 2 well. And their defense is well below average. So their games come really high. They just played Army, 103-87. Syracuse was 82-72, not quite as high. But California is a team that can also score. Their offense has been really, really good. They're coming off an 89-81 game against Stanford, a 98-93 game against Missouri. It just looks like a team, both of these teams, a game that both teams will be in the 90s. My projected final is Cal 97-92. I know it's a high total, but these two both are solid offensive teams, and they both love to run.
And not very good defensively.
Well below average.
Okay. Are you writing that one down? Is that going to make the board?
That's definitely going to make the board.
Okay. We have 3 more to get to, and then we will fill out our boards and take a quick break before we dive into some hockey. But let's go to Portland, 2.5 at home, total 143.5.
Yeah, I don't really have much there. Made Portland 1 and 140.5.
Long Beach State going to San Diego. San Diego 5, 141.5.
Yeah, I'm interested in the total. I made this total 127.5. Got a very low scoring game. This is Chris Ackers, the head coach at Long Beach. They have played some really slow games. Their tempo extremely slow. Their offense really non-existent. In San Diego, they play very fast. This is Steve Lavin, but they can't score. Even though they're playing extremely fast, they can't shoot, and they play very good defense. So I don't think Long Beach lets them get into an up-tempo game, because that's not what they want. And if you're not going to be able to score, you're going to be in trouble. And again, they love to run, but they're 6-2 to the under this year.
Wow.
San Diego.
Last but not least, Washington, 13-point favorite at home over Eastern Washington, and the total 147.
I have Washington 11 and 154.5. So nice. We got through the entire regular board. Washington is head coach Danny Sprinkle. Sprinkle was at Montana State for a while. Then he went to Utah State before taking this job, and did a really good job at Utah State last year, winning 28 games. His teams have always played very, very good defense. I do lean to the over here, though, and they're playing good defense again this year. I think Eastern Washington is up-tempo. Dan Munson comes in. He gets the job. He was at where was Dan Munson at? He was at Long Beach State. He was the coach at last year that the athletic director fired, and he let him stay on, and he won the Mountain West Conference, or not the Mountain West Conference, the Big West. He won the Big West. The team won the Big West, and they went to the NCAA tournament. And the athletic director still said, "You're out of here." Eastern Washington hired him. He loves to go up tempo. His team's been good offensively, and they play no defense whatsoever. Washington, a 13.5-point favorite, should blow them out, but I like it over because of that fact.
I'm going to do a quick little check-in with the chat, and then we will go over those plays again, see what makes the board. But just want to give a shout out to Dean Hilt and Kelly, who is in there. Vince, Las Vegas. Jerry, good morning. Bob, and is that everybody? Ron, hello. He says your projections in all sports are priceless. Thank you. So that is from Ron, who might be new here to the show, but welcome. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Sports by the Book. We'll be back in 2 minutes, and we'll go over some hockey coming up next.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style Paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Mega Bucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. and our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Welcome back, everybody. Sports by the Book here at the South Point Hotel and Casino. Please make sure and like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, follow us on all of our social media. We do a really good job, the crew back there, putting out clips from each of our shows. So please, Sports by the Book LV on Instagram. Follow us there. I did a welcome to everybody. I think I did skip Vicarious Vegas, so welcome as well. Now I'm seeing on our sheet here, Vince filled out for me that they're in the chat as well. So let's dive into some hockey, and then we will get to your top 10 for the NFL if we have some time, and then we will do mine tomorrow. We still have to give our updated college football top 10 as well, so we will have that tomorrow for sure. Look at our nice little hockey graphic here, getting into some puck plays for you on this Tuesday. A lot of games. We've got 11 on the board. Make sure you check out Punchlines FN at 12 o'clock as well with Frank Nicotero. I will be there with him today, and we are doing a lot of sports, and we are definitely going to talk about the Grand Salami and that total, if we like it over or under, with 11 games on the board. But let's get started. We've got a really good one to start us off. Toronto and New Jersey, both of them playing very good. Toronto 7-3 in their last 10. The Devils 6-4, but an 18-10-2 overall record. There is a little revenge. These two played each other once this year. It was actually like the second game of the year, October 10th, and the Leafs won in New Jersey 4-2. I know you love that home revenge. What do you think here for the Devils? Is that enough for you to take them on the money line?
Well, not really, because they won in New Jersey, and they're playing the game. So my thoughts have always been, when I've researched this, that Toronto still knows they're in for a tough game because they're at New Jersey. So they're not going to let up. If New Jersey had beaten Toronto at Toronto
beat New Jersey in New Jersey.
Right,
now they're playing again there.
They're playing again there, though.
Yeah.
So it's
no revenge for the Devils?
No, I don't.
You mean they want to go back to their home ice?
Well, yeah. When New Jersey goes to Toronto, they're going to want to get the revenge there. And now, see, in this situation, it could be a double revenge spot next time.
Yeah.
So I would not want to lay the points there, or the price of $1.31, because of that fact. I still think when teams go on the road, they know how difficult it is. If teams are going to have letdowns, I feel like they're going to be at home most of the time. They can have letdowns on the road. There's no doubt about it. They will. They know they're playing a really good hockey team.
Yes.
On their ice. So I think you're going to get Toronto's A game, and they'll come and they'll be focused. And
to your point, so if a team goes on the road and beats a team, then they could let down a little bit at home. We've already beat them. We have this. We're in our
We beat them at their
arena.
place.
Yeah.
We're better than them.
Right.
And that's when they let down, when they have that feeling. But, going back to New Jersey again, I think they play hard. New Jersey's playing really well, and they should be the favorite.
Small lean to the under here at 6, juice to the over -120. Just because two really good goalies. Anthony Stolarz for Toronto has been playing very good. 2.22 goals against average this year, 92 save percentage. And then Jacob Markstrom, his record 13-6-1 on the year, 2.51 goals against. So lean to the under, but I don't know if it's a big enough difference.
New Jersey 3 straight unders and 2 straight unders at home. Over Toronto, 4 straight overs on the road. Toronto.
Wow. So they've really been an under team at home because their overall record has to be under this year. Toronto, that is. They are 5th right now in goals against per game at 2.63. So maybe just stay away while they're on the road. Kind of look into that a little bit more. Next game on the board, let's go to the Flyers and Columbus. Philadelphia -120. on the road, and the total 6.5. I do like this game over, even though it is a 6.5, but diving into these two numbers. So first game this year for these two, 4 games last year, they split 2-2. The total's also split 2-2, but in their last 8 games, they are 6-2 to the over against each other. Now that is going back a few years, so I don't know how much you can take from that. But even looking at the 2 goalies, I think we'll get some goals in this one.
Well, Columbus, 6 straight home games over. And
Wow.
the number went to yours. It opened 6 over. Most places were at 6 over. Now they're all at 6.5 under. South Point opened 6.5 under. And they still took a little money on the over.
Well, that's what you always say. You got to bet overnights, right? Especially hockey. So if I would have saw that 6 last night, that would have been an automatic play to the over
Yeah,
there.
no doubt about it. And then with the Columbus over streak at home right now, they are scoring a lot of goals at home. So maybe it's a first period over.
Yeah, first period, you can find that 1.5. Columbus right now 7th in goals for, 3.41 per game, and 31st in goals against at 3.56. So you can see why they are going over a lot at home. San Jose and Carolina, I wanted to make a case for the Sharks, but there has been some movement as of late. Mackenzie Blackwood, the goalie for San Jose, who has really actually made this team more competitive, has been traded to Colorado. Gagorgiev will go to San Jose, but will not play tonight. It is Vanacek. Last game, he was pulled after the first period, gave up 5 to Tampa Bay. But I think this could be a bounce back spot for him. Carolina, they're 4-5-1 in their last 10 games, but we don't want to overreact and adjust this number. But still, minus 500 at home here over San Jose.
Yeah, it's tough to make a number that high in a regular season game. You can get plus 420 on San Jose. And they traded Blackwood to who?
Colorado.
To Colorado.
So now
okay.
Colorado has a completely new goalie staff with
right. Wedgwood
and Blackwood. Yep.
2 Woods.
And Scott Wedgwood has already been playing very good for them. So I think these two will be competing for that number 1 spot.
Yeah, I would have to say it's worth a small bet on the Sharks.
And
that price is just outrageous. You just mentioned Carolina 4-5-1 their last 10. They're not killing people, so.
They are better at home, though. They are
10-3
at home, but still, I mean, and the puck line is 2.5. Is that a?
If you can get a plus price with it, I like it.
We'll have to check into that for that one. Let's go to Colorado. Speaking of Scott Wedgwood, he is starting tonight for the Avs. 3 appearances so far. For them, he is 2-1. Colorado minus 175 now. I think that might have moved a little bit. Total 6.5 over. Pittsburgh has definitely been an over team, but they're starting to find themselves a little bit. 6-3-1 in their last 10 games. So could be a good game. Better than would have been a couple weeks ago with how Pittsburgh was going.
Yeah, there was money for Colorado. It was bet up from 158. Pittsburgh 5 straight overs at home.
Mm-hmm.
And you love it over. You got to go over 6.5. Yours 7.5 under.
Well, that's because Pittsburgh right now is 32nd in goals against per game at 3.72. And when you have a team like Colorado who can score quickly, this is the first this year. They did split last year.
Okay.
So nothing there.
Over's the play there.
Over the play, over 6.5. Let's go the Kings and the Islanders here. South Point, Los Angeles minus 130 and the total 5.5 under. I don't think we have much of a difference there, but total probably close with that 5.5.
Yeah, the total's right there. I guess the Kings' 5-game winning streak could take you off any play for the Islanders, and that's why the Kings are the favorite, because of the streak that they're on right now. So I think Sorkin's the way better goaltender for the Islanders. However, you don't want to buck the streak of 5 straight wins by the Kings.
Yes. Kings have been playing very well. They are 7-3 in their last 10. As you mentioned, a nice little win streak of 5. Calgary and Nashville. Now, this is another play, I believe, for us. Nashville minus 175 here at the South Point. That is the best number you're going to get on them. Minus 178, minus 180. A little bit higher at other places. But I like the dog in this one. And the total is 5.5 over, minus 120. Nashville is 7-15-6 on the year, and we still have them as a minus 175 favorite at home.
Yeah, and they've lost 7 straight. The problem is Calgary has lost 8 straight
Ooh.
on the road.
Yes, it is they are far better at home. 3, 7, and 4 overall on the road, but I would still have to take a little bit of that plus money here with Calgary.
The both teams have different streaks too. Calgary, 3 straight overs on the road. However, Nashville, 6 straight unders and 5 straight unders at home. So they've been an under team at home. I guess that's what Saros, a goaltender, that figures, and they just haven't gotten the continuity yet offensively. So that looks, it leans towards your Calgary if you can, get a decent price on Calgary. Maybe they're very competitive in a low-scoring game.
Or what's the total on our sheet? Because right there at 5.5, some plus money on the under as well. I know you said Calgary has an over trend, but I mean, the Preds right now are 32nd in goals for on the season at 2.18, and they're 32nd in shooting percentage.
They can't score.
Yeah.
And they got a great goalie.
They got a really good goalie with Yusei Saros. So either way, lean to the Flames, lean to the under in that one. Let's go the Bruins and Winnipeg Jets. This is a good matchup as well. The Jets minus 130, total 5.5. Now, they went on a huge streak. Their overall record is 20-9. And now 4-6 in their last 10. So they have slipped up a little bit here, and Boston is starting to figure some things out. So I think it'll be a tighter game than expected. First one of the year, and they split last year.
Yeah, we have $1.50 in on Winnipeg. They opened around $1.30, but it's down now. South Point opened $1.45. Am I looking at the right game? Yeah, $1.45 down to $1.30. So money for Boston. And, new coach, they are playing better.
Yep.
This matchup between these goaltenders, just from last year, what they did, and Swayman has not done that this year because he held out, but Hellebuck's still one of the best goalies in the game. This is a really good, as you mentioned, matchup because of the goaltenders.
And last year, both games had a total of 5.5. It went 1-1 in that one, but the game in Winnipeg was 5-1 to the Jets. So both won on their own home ice last year. Not much we could take there. Except for, it should still be a low-scoring game, even that 5-1. Let's go to Tampa Bay and Edmonton. Another really good game here. Oilers, minus 145, total 6.5, over minus 115. First game of the year, Lightning. They won both last year, and by quite a bit. 6-4 in Tampa, and then 7-4 in Edmonton. So a little bit of revenge here for the Oilers. And Skinner's been playing good enough. Not as good as Vasilevsky, but think he can hang in this one. What do we have this?
Oilers $1.50, so that's right on the number. But the total 7 over 15 gives you a half a play on the over there.
I do like that, especially both teams better offensively than defensively to start.
Last year, 2 really high scoring games between these two teams.
Yes. Both of them flew over, total 10 and 11. So over in that one as well. Let's go to Minnesota and Utah. Utah minus 115, pretty much a pick 'em here in this one. Total 5.5. And that is because of the goaltending in Minnesota to start the year. Gustafsson, 1.99 goals against average, 93% save percentage. His record is 13-4-3. So he has been outstanding for the Wild. So I understand that 5.5. Yep, and probably have a play on Minnesota in this one.
Yeah, Minnesota $1.31, but you still don't really have that big of a difference. You're looking at $1.15 here at the South Point, so 16-cent difference. It's just not enough to really have any value to play it. You lean to Minnesota.
But Minnesota is minus 105. Were you thinking they were minus 115? Because really that is a...
Oh, well, if the line is bet that much, I didn't update my Spank odds screen, so maybe that if it's flipped and you're laying 105, you do have a 26-cent difference now.
So money coming in for Utah, though.
A lot of money coming in if it moved that far, because I see even the South Point, where are we at? 120, open $1.20.
Wow.
On Minnesota.
Utah has been playing good, though. I want to check their last 10. I don't know how I didn't have that written down.
They won their last 2 games, but they've lost 4 straight at home.
Okay.
The new building.
5-4-1 though overall in their last 10, but Minnesota 7-2-1. So yeah, I like the Wild tonight. 2 more, St. Louis and Vancouver. Now I do believe we are trying to They're trying to get Thatcher Demko back tonight. It will be the return. So I don't know how rusty he will be and if it is for sure that he will play. But Vancouver minus 170 at home against the Blues, total 5.5.
He's playing. I think he's definitely going to play tonight. And you're right, but is he going to be rusty? That's the question. I would lean to, he's going to be rusty, and so it would scare me to lay a price with Vancouver. I could make a small bet on the Blues, new coach there as well.
Yep.
And they're playing a little bit better.
5-4-1 in their last 10. They are 8-7-1 on the road this year as well. So I'm with you, especially Binnington has been playing good too. 90% save percentage for him. So we'll see how that one goes. Maybe it's just a watch and see how Thatcher Demko looks. Florida Panthers and the Kraken. Florida minus 190 and the total 6 under minus 115. Split last year, both won at home. Joey Decord has been very good for the Kraken, and they're 5-5 in their last 10, 7-6-1 at home. So pretty average hockey team. And Florida, be careful. Here they come, 8-4-1 on the road this year, and they are now leading in their division.
Tough game all the way up in Seattle. Again, you mentioned Seattle won last year at home. I think they're playing a little bit better as of late. Florida, we know how talented they are, but this price is getting up there pretty pricey. That if you can get a shot with even maybe Seattle plus a puck and a half, minus a small price, it might be some value there.
Okay, plus a puck and a half, minus 150.
Yeah, it's a little too much. I don't think you want to lay the 150. I'd rather take the plus 170 to see them hang around.
That 190 is a lot bigger than we have on our sheet, so that would be a lean to the Panthers. We didn't get our boards ready and all of our plays. I know I have 2 overs.
Well, I didn't have any Kleenex. You stole them all.
And an under.
If I had Kleenex, can't work here without any tools.
I'm glad I just put 1 on the board yesterday. 1-0. We did get under the 6 for the Blackhawks and the Rangers. See if we can find some more hockey plays today. You have a couple college basketball as well?
Yeah, I'm going to do college basketball. That's the one sport that there were a lot of games in, and it looked like there was a lot of good spots. 1 and 2 yesterday. Joe Burrow did not run the football well. I thought it was a couple of chances that he could have escaped the pocket and picked up those rushing yards I was looking for, but he just didn't get it. So I do have a couple of totals I really like in college basketball today, so I'm going to use those. Butler is going to be one of those, hosting North Dakota State. Very, very good three-point shooting from both of these teams. So I'll go over the 142.5 in that one. I think it's going to be all overs for me today in college basketball, which is okay this time of year when it won't be all overs because I'm going to go under with the Houston game.
Oh, yeah.
Houston, great defense, always lockdown defense, and Troy struggles to score. That's
first half is 62.5. Do you like that better?
I do like the first half better than I do like the overall game, but I'm going to just use the overall game on the board. And then Cornell and California over.
I am going to use that first half then. Troy and Houston under. Oh, my gosh. Should use my
3 college basketball totals
tissue
for me. 1 and 2 start to the week. Last week was like plus 7 units, or last 2 weeks were plus 7 units. So Butler over 142.5, Houston under 134, and California over 166.5. That's my 3 plays for the day.
I don't know if you're going to hate this because you said you like Dallas and Oklahoma City over for the game. So I'm going over 118 in the first half.
It's good. You're right. They do score more in the first half.
And then maybe slow it down a little bit, right?
Well, if the game gets tight late, that's what happens.
Yes. Okay, and then I got to go with both of my overs. So we're going Colorado and Pittsburgh over in hockey. I got to get off of the first half now. And then I'm going to do that Edmonton as well.
Edmonton over?
Yep. Tampa Bay, Edmonton. Oh, and I do like Calgary. I've got too many today.
As long as we get them in before they start.
Okay.
Sometimes maybe we wait till after they start.
Here we go. Well, that's what in-game is for. And speaking of in-game, I will give Jeff Parles a shout-out because he is very good at his in-game.
Wrote Tuesday 10-10?
12-10. That's a 2.
It says 10. It says 10-10. That's a 0 for sure. You wrote 10-10.
And I also went back to 10-10's, and I already know this is going to happen from October 10th. So that's
good.
how you.
Oh, I see. Okay. So there you go.
All right, that's
You're
it
playing
for
some
us.
first halves. That's a good way to bet. You make that bet and cash it early.
That's right. I could have went first period for the hockey as well. I do like both of those over 1.5. But tune into Punchlines. Some of these may be there, and I might switch it up and have a couple extra plays. We've got college basketball, NBA, and hockey for you today on Sports by the Book. Thank you all so much for joining us. Appreciate you all, and keeping the chat going as well. Again, Bob, Dean Hilt, Kelly, Ron, Vicarious Vegas, Jerry, and Vince. We'll see you guys again tomorrow. Same time, 9 a.m. here on Sports by the Book. Drew Dog, Ryan, Vince, and Ann, thank you, all behind the glass. For Kenny White, I'm Alex White. We'll see you again tomorrow on Sports by the Book.